Hello guys, welcome to weekly outlook here on pound USD. We've got gold here and a confluence for trades on DXY here, and lastly we're going to be looking at oil. So if you stick to the end of the video, we're going to be looking at a setup here on oil. And starting off with pound USD, this is the daily time frame, and as you can see, we've consistently trended downwards, and recently we had a pullback to 1.2767 region, and then back to the psychological level 1.2500. Yeah, now previously we already figured that price was trending upwards, and then we had a break, and then price is now trending downwards. But right now we're at a very strong support region of 1.2500. It is psychological level as well. Now if price really breaks that region, we'll definitely show we might trend to 1.23 or even below. Now this might stall, we might actually start pulling back again from 1.25 upwards, but a break of this region would be a very good opportunity for sell setups. Okay, now if we slide down to the 4 hours time frame, we could see the many things that have, the kind of like the mini setup we've seen here on the 4 hours time frame. So we saw that pullback, price broke below the upward trend line, we had a retest of it at 1.2720, and price continued to the downside. Now I'm still anticipating price to continue to the downside. The only reason I'll be considering buy setups is when price comes back to break 1.28 regions, and this is what exactly I mean. If price comes back to break above this region here and start doing something like this, then we'll look for buy setups. Otherwise, this is exactly what I'll be looking out for. Maybe price pulling back to these regions one more time, which we've seen here as a previously held support that might turn into resistance. Previously we saw price looking like it wanted to retest it and then so downward. So if we are to put this into perspective, then I'm anticipating price to do something like pull back into these regions, or maybe flex the muscles around these regions here as well, 1.27, and then looking out for price to come break, let's say first come back to 1.25 and then possibly break it, and then look for a retest and then a continuation to the downside. Alright, that's basically what I'll be looking out for. Let me put this in a big view. So something like this, right? Something like this. So either it does this, or we stick to these regions here and then pull back, or we could actually see price just come not retest these regions anymore, come back to break 1.25. I'm looking for a good retest and then a continuation to the downside. The only reason I'll be looking for buy setups, like I've mentioned, is if price starts to break above 1.20. That's a long journey though. We're looking at price really buying. So, but I would have to see new structures forming here for buys before we look for buy setups. But for now, I think I'm pretty much bearish here on pound USD. And that's that for pound USD. Let's quickly look at gold. Gold here on the daily time frame, we could see how we had the new highs created at 2000, let's call it 2,800, right? And then we saw price pull back all the way to $2,500 region here, and then we started holding off here as a strong resistance of 2720 region. We've heard something like a double top here. My anticipation is that possibility we might see price roll right down back again to 2520 or 2500 psychological level here on gold, before possibly maybe breaking it and going to the downside. But for now, I think we are looking at a good sell setup. We'll slide down to the 4 hours time frame here. We might possibly see how let me see here has head off as a previous support, and looking like it's turning into resistance now. This is what I mean. So we'll put support, previously held support, which is turning into resistance. But if we refine it a little bit, we could actually call that around 2600, or let's say 2630. So price has wicked out. Here is a possible support, but if we look at the current price region, we want to readjust it a little bit to align with previously what it did here in the past as well. Okay, all right. So that being said, looks like we are all good for sales to the downside, looking from from what we see here right now. So if that's the case, I'm looking out for price to, let's say, create let's see here, maybe a pullback to these regions a little bit, 2630, and then we could write down all the way to 2530. That's like 1000 pips. Good. I'm very much confident to start looking for sales. If you slide down to the 1 hour time frame, if price decides to come break this new small 1 hour time frame support here at 2610. Okay, so we might just get a break of it, a retest, and then we'll sell to the downside. I'm not very much interested for buy setups at the moment. Like I mentioned previously in the old videos, I might be looking, the only reason I'll be looking for buys at the moment is if price breaks above here and clears, holds this region as as a support, that's something like this, and we might buy up to it to this region. Okay, something like that. Otherwise, yeah, basically it might be a slow week, but for down, what I'm anticipating is maybe a sell to the downside here. So a sell to the downside on the 1 hour time frame. We'll look for possible confirmations below 2610, a retest of that region, and we can sell down to the downside. All right, that's that for gold for this week. I'm bearish on gold otherwise. Okay, now lastly here, before we have a bonus on oil, lastly here on DXY, I'm looking out for a continuation to the upside. On the daily time frame here, we could see it has broken a very strong previously held resistance here at 106, or call it 107, and it pulled up really high and it's still trending up here. So what I'm looking out for is maybe a pullback, a little pullback. Using our Fibonacci retracement tool here, we could anticipate price to already retest 50, or let's say 61.80 region before continuing to the upside. And if that's the case, I'm just looking for price to make something moves like this, and then we can continue to the upside, retesting this new high of 108.52, possible break of it, and then a continuation to the upside. And if that is the case, if price decides to trend up for DXY or continue to the upside here on DXY, then we definitely know that opportunity to sell here on pound USD would be possible. Okay, to sell below 1.2500. Okay, now lastly, let's just look quickly on oil. On the daily time frame here, we could see oil has been consolidating from 70 to 66, or let's just call it 66.5, something like that. Looking at this from a very huge perspective on the daily time frame, we've seen here price have held off at 65 as a very strong support region, and now we have like a head, like if the roof here at 70 or 71, and the below here at 65, 66 region. So obviously what I'm looking out for is if price breaks above this region going into the new year, we'll be trending up a little bit to like 76, 78, and below, which I doubt, but it would be really great if we see price break below this region for oil, and then we'll be trading downwards. Let me put this a little bit to the side. So basically that's what I'm looking at for oil. I don't know when it might happen because it's really consolidating, but if it does break out to the up or the downside, that would be a good setup to actually swing or hold the trades. All right, that's that for this week. Thank you guys for watching, or I'll see you guys for weekly recap during the weekend. Do make sure you enjoy your holidays. Ciao.